How many times have we looked at something that happened in our life and immediately called it a disaster? How many times have you lost sleep, your heart racing and your stomach tied in knots over a failed project, a broken relationship, or a lost opportunity? And then, how many times did that same disaster later turn out to be a hidden blessing? The truth is, we are never wise enough to judge life in the moment it arrives. What feels like a devastating loss today might actually be preparing us for something far greater tomorrow. But the problem is, most of us simply do not have the patience to wait and see. We react, we panic, we destroy our own peace. Today, I'm going to share a powerful ancient story about a simple farmer who understood a secret that most of us struggle with our entire lives: the art of patience and trust in life's timing. While everyone around him celebrated too quickly or grieved too deeply, this man stayed calm through every storm and every sunrise. By the end of this story, you will never let life's chaos steal your peace again. A long time ago, at the foot of the lush green Harvey Hills in the heart of India, there lay a small, simple village. Among the villagers lived a farmer. He was not rich, nor was he powerful. He lived in a small house built from mud and dry grass with his wife and their only son. They didn't have much, but there was one thing this family treasured above all else: a horse. This was no ordinary animal. It was tall, strong, and strikingly handsome. The farmer had raised it from a young colt, and over the years, the horse had become a beloved part of their family. But what made this farmer truly different from everyone else in the village was not what he owned. It was how he lived. No matter what happened, good or bad, the farmer never lost his calm. When the rain didn't come and the crops were dry, he didn't curse the sky. When the harvest was abundant, he didn't boast. He simply worked, prayed, and accepted whatever life brought him with a quiet, unshakable peace. One day, word of his beautiful horse reached a wealthy merchant. The merchant came to the village and immediately offered the farmer a massive sack of gold coins, enough money to feed his family for years. The villagers watched with wide eyes, whispering that the farmer would be a fool to refuse such an offer. But the farmer gently shook his head. "This horse is not just an animal to us. He is part of our family," he said. "This horse is not for sale." The merchant left disappointed, and the village erupted in gossip. They called the farmer a foolish man who had his one big chance to be rich and threw it away. But the farmer said nothing. He simply returned to his field and continued his work. A few days later, a shock hit the family. One morning, the son went to the stable and found it empty. The rope was untied, and the horse was gone. The villagers gathered, shaking their heads with a hint of satisfaction. "We told him so," they said. "Now he has nothing, no horse and no money. What a terrible loss." The son was heartbroken. That evening, he sat beside his father and asked how he could remain so calm after losing their most valuable companion. The farmer placed a hand on his son's shoulder and said softly, "My son, what looks like a loss today may not be a loss tomorrow. Do not be so quick to call this a disaster. Only time can reveal the true nature of what happens to us. Everything happens for a reason. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong." About a week later, something unbelievable happened. Early one morning, through the mist, the son heard the sound of hooves. He ran outside and could not believe his eyes. The horse had returned. and trailing right behind him were 5 wild horses, strong, untamed, and magnificent. The village buzzed with excitement. The same people who had just called the farmer a fool now praised him as the luckiest man alive. "Now he has 6 horses! He will be wealthier than the merchant!" they cheered. But amidst the loud celebrations, the farmer simply smiled and said quietly to his son, "Do not celebrate too soon, my son. We do not yet know what this will bring. Let us not judge this moment either. Only time will tell." Eager to train the new animals, the son mounted one of the strongest wild stallions the very next day. But the beast bucked and twisted violently, throwing the young man hard to the ground. There was a sickening crack. His right leg was broken in 2 places. The village healer rushed over, setting the bone and wrapping it tightly, warning that the boy would need many weeks to recover and might walk with a limp for the rest of his life. Once again, the villagers' opinions shifted. "Those wild horses brought nothing but trouble," they whispered. "The farmer's greed for more has cost his son dearly." Lying in bed, consumed by pain, the son looked at his father with heavy eyes. "Was this meant to happen too?" he asked. The farmer sat beside him, just as calm as ever. "The same rain that floods the valley nourishes the forest, my son. Do not judge this moment either. Only time will tell." Just 2 weeks later, the unthinkable happened. The sound of drums and trumpets echoed through the village as the king's soldiers rode in with a royal decree. A brutal war had broken out on the northern border, and every able-bodied young man was to be drafted into the army immediately. There were no exceptions. Mothers wailed and fathers stood in stunned silence as, one by one, the young men of the village were taken away to the battlefield. But when the soldiers arrived at the farmer's door and saw his son lying on a cot with his leg bound in splints, they shook their heads and moved on. "This one is of no use to us," they said. The son was spared. Months passed, and the war proved to be long and brutal. Of the 23 young men taken from the village that day, only 9 returned. The families that had once mocked the farmer now grieved for sons they would never see again. And there sat the farmer's son, alive and healing, resting beside his father under the old neem tree. That evening, looking at his father with completely new eyes, the son said, "You were right all along, Father. Every time I thought the world was ending, it was actually beginning something new." The farmer nodded slowly. "My son, this is the greatest wisdom I can give you. Never celebrate too quickly, and never grieve too deeply. Life is like a river. It turns and bends, and you cannot see what lies ahead. What looks like a flood today may water the fields of tomorrow." The horse disappearing seemed like a tragedy, but he returned with 5 more. Your broken leg felt like a punishment, but it saved your life. We are never wise enough to judge what life gives us in the exact moment it arrives. This ancient story is not just a fable. It is a blueprint for emotional resilience. It explains why some people break under pressure, while those who master inner peace can walk through any storm. The farmer's wisdom gives us 3 core rules we can practice right now to take back control of our emotions. First, stop judging every moment the instant it arrives. Give life the time to reveal its full picture. When you lose a job or face rejection, your brain immediately labels it a disaster. But you are trying to understand an entire novel by reading a single page. Give the story time to unfold. Second, trust the process. Just because you cannot see the road ahead does not mean it leads nowhere. Life does not unfold in straight lines. It twists, turns, and constantly surprises us. What looks like a curse today may become your greatest blessing tomorrow. Third, stay steady in both good times and bad. When things go well, stay humble. When things fall apart, stay hopeful. Balance is the key to inner peace. Don't break down when times are hard, and don't lose yourself when times are good. Take a moment to think about your own life. How many times did something go wrong and you thought it was the absolute end? Maybe you failed an exam, went through a painful breakup, or faced a massive financial setback. In that moment, it felt like the sky was falling. But weeks, months, or years later, you looked back and realized that very setback pushed you towards something so much better. Life will always test you with sudden losses and unexpected gains. Do not let either one control you. So the next time an event shakes you, instead of reacting, panicking, or getting angry, take a deep breath and remind yourself of the farmer's mantra. Only time will tell. Be patient, be thankful, and keep your faith strong. Wait until the evening to see how splendid the day has been. Now, I want to hear from you. Think about a time in your life when something that seemed terrible actually turned out to be a hidden blessing. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly the encouragement someone else desperately needs to read today. If this message touched your heart, please like this video, share it to spread the wisdom, and subscribe to our channel so we can continue bringing you stories that inspire and uplift. I will be back with another powerful story. Until then, be patient, stay grateful, and keep moving forward.